one of my questions is, how are you getting this information out to the community? Because I've been a composter for years and years, but since I've moved into Sarasota, it's really changed, and I've never heard of your program.
Mm-hmm. We would like to have more extensive outreach going on, because we're still a little bit small and we're growing and, all that. We are really more reliant on tapping into those existing networks and then letting the existing networks sort of carry the message. I mean, we have a website, we have social media, we do, we partner with different organizations and they often help spread the word. We don't have a huge communications program right now. So it's mostly word of mouth is what I'd say. Or if we partner, we partner with neighborhood associations. We start with the president and the president says, bring it to the community and see what they say. And then from there, they start spreading it. Or we partner with the city of Sarasota and then they can help spread the word or whatever. So it's really we're trying to tap into existing networks of communication and then let the word go that way. That's what we have right now. But in the future, as we develop more capacity, we want to have obviously a much more robust.
I want to give you an example of how you can tap into a large group of people, because a lot of the apartment living, they actually have education nights and they love stuff like this. So you're going to tap into hundreds of apartment dwellers or condo. I mean, apartment dwelling that would be big there. And I know here, there's several people that would be interested, I'm sure. Yeah. And that way you can reach a large number of people at one time. That might be a good thing for the future.
Yes, thank you for that.
What about urban farming? Is this ever going to be kind of like urban gardens? I mean, is this going to be kind of tied into that at some point? Or, we have farmers now, but.
I mean, in my vision, I would say yes. I mean, I personally think there should be a community compost site in every urban garden because it just helps nourish the soil. It helps create nutrient-dense food. It helps with local food security, and it just helps close the loop. People can see exactly where it's coming from and where it's going. It's like perfect. For us, it's just about developing enough of those relationships with the people who either started those gardens or have a major stake in them and or working through the city or the county. So there's just these different layers that we have to get through, work through, partner with, collaborate with, and that kind of thing. But I mean, this would be a beautiful thing, and we would like to train more people to be able to do those, not be the only one doing the community composting, but train community composters so that a lead gardener in a community garden could be, really the person taking more responsibility for that particular site. And, I think that a lot of people can benefit. There's also great training involved when you're doing that. You can learn skills for life that could be shared through the generations and or, green job skills, really. So I think, yes, I think it's very much interrelated and interconnected to the, urban farm and urban garden movement myself.
So Tracy, let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you work with Transition Sarasota on a lot of this work you're working with at this time?
We partner with Transition Sarasota. I feel that, because we're so community centered and they're so community centered and their local food, and this is a major part of the cycle, the food cycle, the food shed, and the movement of resources in that, it's a natural partnership. So we've done, when they did their Eat Local Week last year, we did a talk about food waste. And then this year they're doing their Eat Local Week and they're gonna focus on waste. And so we're gonna get a chance to speak to the group about food waste and how that relates to the food movement and that kind of thing.
We'd love to get some more information from you on that. That'll be great.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, what sort of unexpected outcomes have you realized from this work that you're doing?
There's been some interesting things. It's been quite a journey. I think because we do community composting, some great benefits have been to see how people meet each other as a result of composting in community. So we give people these buckets and they're walking around the parks with these little buckets and they're looking at each other like, oh, you're a composter too, and you're a composter. So we see people meeting. And like one time I was at a compost bin and, people who had lived across the city park on opposite sides for like 10 years had never met each other before. And I'm watching them meet each other for the first time at the compost bin. And I was like, like
Oh, God.
community is our middle name, Sunshine Community Compost, so I just like, I love seeing stuff like that. And, I really love seeing like, the kids really start, growing their awareness too. We started talking about microbes and the kids are like, so when I play soccer, am I going to hurt the microbes under my feet? And just, this kind of interesting thing. And then the other thing is that how this is leading into an awareness of so many resources that are part of food. And, the other thing we notice, we do see some food going in the bin that could still be used in another way. And so it's also brought our attention that we need to continue going back to the source of waste. Compost is this amazing platform for educating about so many different things. And that's what I love about it, because it's so interconnected. And we want to start, if I see like a whole onion in there that could have easily turned into a veggie stalk, or a corn cob that just had a few wrinkled kernels, it's like, okay, we got the composting down, now we got to go back to the source. So those are some things I didn't know were up for us, and
that's amazing. That's really amazing. I love it.
It's an adventure.
You had mentioned something about, when you talk about composting, for me, it's like, well, that's kind of an interesting, how many people talk about compost? You obviously talk about it a lot, but you indicate that there's an International Compost Awareness Week. Is that right? There is. Crazy. Yeah. Tell us more about that.
Well, I think it's great. It's really fun spreading the word about that. And the U.S. Composting Council, they basically bring all the industry together and help, with research and setting standards and, creating that sort of cross-pollination of the composting industry. And so they have, one week a year. It's called International Compost Awareness Week. And so folks like me or any, people around the world are focusing on educating their community and really amplifying their message of what they're doing during International Compost Awareness Week. And, when I came here and started talking about it, I just realized like it wasn't on the radar at all. And then, and even people where it was on the radar, they weren't really spending a lot of time, but, focusing on it. But we've had some really, a lot of fun and created a lot of collaborations around that effort. And then we know that we're interconnected to all the other folks in the industry that are also trying to amplify the benefits of compost during that week. So I think it's a really great, week to do something like that.
And when is that week?
This year it was May 5th through the 11th. It's usually that, it's the 6th through the 10th or whatever, the 5th through 11th. It's usually around that, that first week in May. Mm-hmm. For about a week. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting, because if you're not in Florida, that's the time you start to want to really develop the soil for the garden for the summer. But in Florida, we're reversed.
Yes, we're slowing down.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up in Vermont, we were composting. It was natural. I mean, in the 70s, my neighbors, everybody, but we grew gardens. So it was just natural. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, one of my favorite pictures is me on top of my big old compost pile, but that was way back then.
So great.
So
good job.
For you personally, Tracy, can you say more about how that's become, why has this become such your passion, and why are you so deeply involved in this?
For me, it's well, I feel like I get a lot from the planet. I feel like I get a lot from nature, and I feel like composting is a way to give back, for all the things that I often take for granted, just, fresh air and water and good food and beautiful, beauty everywhere. It just gives me a chance to remember that I'm part of a cycle, and for all that I receive, I need to be giving back. So it's like staying in those reciprocal relations, and, without even knowing it, I don't always have to speak that out, but that just naturally starts to happen. And the other thing is, I really feel like, at the heart of it, composting is about transformation. And so it's a transformation of ideas, it's a transformation of materials, it's a transformation of communities. And so, when I see we're transforming these ideas that this is waste into something that's beautiful and a resource, and, I think that we have a lot to learn from that. And, observation and participation in that process, really, I think it just has a lot to offer people. So, it really, there's so many things that I'm always learning, and I had no idea how deep it would go for me. And it's just a lot of fun. It brings all kinds of people together, and it mirrors what's happening underneath the soil, all this diversity, all this different kinds of life. It brings it up to the surface, and that we're almost mirroring what's happening down there. So
yeah,
Tracy, if people want to get a bucket, they just contact Sunshine Community Compost. How do they get them? Okay.
Yes, that would be a good thing to do, is to go to our website, sunshinecommunitycompost.org. And, for the sites that still have capacity, then we can get people going in the project. For the ones that are full, we'll put them on the wait list. We do have people moving in and out of the project, if they start backyard composting or they leave or they move. So they can contact me and we'll get them, put in the right spot for the process.
I think it's such a great give back to Mother Earth. What you're developing here, it's so important, because it's important to do that. We take so much from Mother Earth, and to give back in a way, the way you've put it together is just really speaks to me, Tracy.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, it's been a great journey. I feel really grateful to be able to do this work and be part of these cycles. Yeah.
It's really awesome. So we can also contact you on Facebook. I see you've got a place there, Sunshine Community Compost on Facebook as well, right?
Yes, that's right. Correct.
Well, one we do know is you're going to be speaking at the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, which we're really happy to have you there. Yes. So that's going to be great.
That's pretty much our big event, for the next probably 2 months. So we're excited to be there and to just connect with people and the other organizations, and it's good stuff.
That's great. Well, thank you so very much for your time, and we will look forward to talking with you further and getting the word out about the compost. I think it's so important. Thank you so much, Tracy.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.